surprising me, and they get this win with Zach Greinke starting. He goes 4 innings. Godley also goes 4 innings. Greinke gets pulled early. Not sure if it's because of an injury. The trainer did come out and visit with him during the game, or maybe it was because he had given up 4 runs. But Zach Godley comes in and only gives up 1 run in 4 innings, making a strong case to not get DFA'd, and because he definitely doesn't want that to happen. But Greg Holland, Yohan Lopez, and Harano all go a shutout inning to close off this 11-inning game, in which the Diamondbacks won 6-5. The runs were produced by Ketel Marte and Eduardo Escobar, and Escobar and Marte with 1 RBI each, and then Adam Jones with an RBI, with 2 RBIs, and LeCastro also had an RBI. The Mets had Jacob deGrom go pitch this game, who did actually pretty well. He went 6 2/3 innings, only giving up a single run, 5 hits, and then the Mets bullpen comes in. Familia, he only goes 2/3 of an inning, yet he manages to give up 3 runs. And then Gelsman comes in, and he pitched yesterday too, the day before, giving up 2/3 of an inning, giving up a run. Gagnon comes in 2/3 of an inning, gets a shutout inning. Diaz comes in for an inning and a third, gets a shutout inning, and then Bachelor, he only gets through a third of an inning before the Diamondbacks walk it off with a LeCastro single. But overall, finally back in the win column against the Mets, but we'll take any win we can take when we're on a 5-game losing streak. The Diamondbacks then come into, this game was earlier today. We started at 1 o'clock as usual. 7-1 game. The Diamondbacks take a big win that they really needed. Merrill Kelly goes 7 2/3 innings with a. Merrill Kelly is his starts are like opposite every time. He has a really strong start, and then he struggles and doesn't make it 5 innings, and then he goes 7 2/3. So I don't understand it, but I really like when he goes 7 2/3. Gives our bullpen a bit of rest. He only gives up 1 run, and then after Merrill Kelly comes in, the Mets do not get another hit, and Bradley throws a third of an inning, and Crichton throws a inning to close it out. The Diamondbacks faced off against Matz that game. Steven Matz getting 5 runs on 8 hits in 6 innings. Font throws a scoreless inning. Santiago comes in for 2/3 of an inning, gives up 2 runs, and then Bachelor comes in and gets a scoreless inning. This game had more offense, so more RBIs, of course. Ketel Marte gets 3, Escobar gets 2, Walker gets 1, and Vargas gets 1. So, overall, more offense this game, and hopefully we get to see them on this track. And then just a quick overview of this week. We have a home series up against the Dodgers, who are 41-19, which I cannot imagine how they are doing so crazy good. But tomorrow, the start time is 6:40. Robbie Ray against Walker Buehler. And then Tuesday at 6:40, Taylor Clark is facing up against Ryu. And then early start on Wednesday, 12:40 for a travel day. Diamondbacks have to travel. I'm sure the Dodgers do too. But John Duplantier up against Kenta Maeda. And then they have an off day on Thursday, and they start a 3-game series up against the Blue Jays. Start times at 4:07 on Friday, 12:07 on Saturday, and 10:07 on Sunday. The starters have not been determined by either team for any of the games. But, so overall, a really rough week, and not much was going well for them up until this Mets series started. Their first series win, but for now. But overall, I can see the Diamondbacks taking the Blue Jays series, and hopefully they can finish it off against. They can win at least one game against the Dodgers, maybe two. It doesn't really matter. They're kind of just not making the playoffs anyways, so hopefully they can come back and make the playoffs. I mean, not do too terrible. Of course, I figure if you're not going to make the playoffs, then it might be just good to have be the worst team, so you can get the best draft pick. Okay, so we will be moving on to our bullpen, and it's really been kind of rough overall. Just not many good arms. If I pulled up the ERAs of all our pitchers, they would all be above 5. It would not be great. But the bright spots of our bullpen this year have been Chafin, Holland, and I can't think of his name. Yohan Lopez, who is. They're being surprisingly good this year. Those three. Holland went like 10 or 12 games without giving up a run, and overall, he's just been doing well for us in this season so far. So I am pulling up recent injury reports for the Diamondbacks. David Peralta had a cortisone injection a couple days ago in his AC joint, and he could play in an extended spring training game a few days ago. And then Luke Weaver, also an update on him. He has a mild flexor pronator strain and a mild UCL strain. Lovello says that he'll treat it conservatively, and a procedure is not in the plan at this time. I would like to see Luke Weaver back soon because he's been one of our better starters this season. He definitely has ace potential. At the beginning of the year, I was doubtful because I was missing Goldie. But the way he's been pitching, he has a lot of potential to be a really good 2, maybe a decent ace. But we could also, with the injuries in our starting rotation, we have a bunch of players, our bullpen pitchers. Zach Greinke is listed as day-to-day. Luke Weaver is on the 10-day DL. And Taijuan Walker, of course, is still on the 60-day IL for he had a Tommy John surgery. Silvino Bracco, I am fairly certain he's a relief pitcher for us. I'm fairly certain he had a Tommy John too. But with our rotation going down, a lot of injuries. Thinking about who we could have fill in those spots, as we already have John Duplantier and Taylor Clark that have stepped up into our bullpen. But we don't have many players that, if another starter goes down, we could really trust in our starting rotation. So say anyone else in our rotation goes down, we don't really have anyone on our 40-man that could fill in a spot. We do have Matt Andriese and Zach Godley as in our bullpen, but of course there's a definite reason there in our bullpen, because we don't want to be seeing them as starting pitchers. We do have a very limited amount of starting pitchers on our 40-man roster. We only have 2, Bo Takahashi and Emilio Vargas. Bo Takahashi and neither have been in the majors this year. I don't really want to pull any more young guys up, and I don't think it would be smart to make Clark and Duplantier take full-on roles in the rotation from now on. But our other options, maybe sign some free agents, because if we need someone, we're not going to be going after Keuchel or Kimbrel, as they don't want to sign with us, and we don't need a really good starting pitcher, as we're not going to be making the playoffs anyways. So there is a very few limited amount of players that we could sign. We could sign Bartolo Colon. I don't think it would really matter. I'm pretty sure he's going to retire after this year no matter what. But if he gets signed somehow. And of course, Keuchel and Kimbrel will be getting signed soon because hopefully, likely, because they will no longer be losing a draft pick. The Diamondbacks also have 7 picks in the top 75 for the draft on the 6th. So that is Thursday. A lot of players that we can get in this draft. A lot of top stars, future players, and with 7 of the top 75 picks, if we don't pick them right, then we could really hurt ourselves, especially since these are picks we got from Corbin and Pollock and a lot of other players. But it's with 7 picks. I saw a joke that we'd be drafting 5 catchers and 2 outfielders, and someone else said that there's no way they'd do that because they're just going to draft 7 catchers to monopolize the market, so they have all the good young catchers. But of course, we would like to see players like Adley Rutschman and Andrew Vaughn, all Golden Spikes Award finalists, drop down to us, or maybe J.J. Bleday. But neither of them will. There's so many good players that are in the draft out of college and the minor leagues. If maybe one of those top players could drop to us, there's a lot of players from out west that I'm sure would love to play in Arizona, right around their home area. But again, with 7 picks in the top 75, that's 7 picks in the first 2 rounds, because there's also compensation rounds in those. But with all these picks we have, then there is so much we can do, and with those players. But overall, this could really boost our farm system. If we do this right, if we do pick right, we could end up with one of the top farm systems. Our farm system's improving a lot with the Goldschmidt trade. I mean, with just stuff we've done overall. Honestly, with these draft picks, I would love to see some offense being picked. I think we could really use some offense and pitching, of course, since we're not really strong anywhere. But I'm pretty sure we have the... I'm going to look up the exact spots where the Diamondbacks have picks, just so I can see what their picks would be if the 2019 prospect list was also matched over. You had to pick an order.